because I do a lot of lifting amongst the marketing things that I normally do. So what we normally have here is we'll have belts, and again, it's just to follow a safety mode. There are yellow lines designated in the factory. We do have a large group, so I just please ask that we stay within the yellow guidelines. And again, if you have a question, my name is Bob, and I've been with the company now 15 years, and very happy to do this. Again, starting again before I've actually gotten recorded here, is that our manufacturing facilities are again of a handmade nature. We do have machinery that helps the process, but we can boast of being a handcrafted, American-made footwear, one of the very, very few and leftover, and very EPA conscious and very recyclably conscious company we are. You'll come to find that out in seeing the processes as we go by here. So if you want, I think the best bet is maybe going by 2x2s or 3x3s, so therefore we can all see, and there'll be certain things I'll be able to give you can actually touch, because I like to do that, especially with all the little guys that come through here. They like to, oh, can we touch that? It's like, yeah, sure, here. So we'll be able to do that too. So if you'll just follow me now, we'll go right on in here. Maybe want to come through? Want to come through? If you just want to move back just a little bit, folks, we got a lot of folks coming through here. This area over here behind me is an area, what we try to do to put this scenario together is you'll see pieces, individual pieces being manufactured. Okay? From there, you'll see the rubber being mixed. We'll take you over here where we see the brand identification inside the shoes being printed up. We'll also see the soles being made. What I like to do is see all the pieces being made, coming together in the process on the other side here, going into the vulcanization ovens. Then we take you over to the stitching area where you see the uppers being stitched. Okay, right over here in this area here, we're having the front bumpers being stamped out in a cookie cutter. One thing about our handcrafted shoes, Vans speaking, is that there is a little bit of a variance in the product. Nothing is machine perfect. Even that you'll come to find in the wrapping of the friction. Front portion of the shoe itself, when it's wrapped around the shoe, the friction portion that's wrapped around the shoe is hand wrapped. In other words, it's not a machine perfect run on each individual shoe. Being very EPA conscious company along with recyclable, you'll notice that we don't have the prettiest of things that we use here. But it's for us as a manufacturer and retailer that we use these items here to pass the savings on to the customer. So we don't use elaborate equipment except in our machinery in order to stacking process and storage processes. Just simple wood that's put together in our excuse me, in our maintenance department. This material here used as separators is old material we used to have a long time ago on our different shoes. We can't use the materials anymore, so what we use them is separators. Over here, we have our own screening department, which these are screened over in our art department, or screen department. Then they're also stamped. These are our heel labels. Yes, ma'am.
How many times can they use these die cutters in a day? They last all day before they have to sharpen?
Yes, they usually probably sharpen these once a week. All the dies that are on here, they usually sharpen once a week. Going back to our maintenance department, you'll find that Vans shoes is like equated to like an Air Force or a Navy base, where we're very self-sufficient. In other words, it's a city within a city. We have our own maintenance department, art department. We have our own in-house warehousing and distribution center. We also have our own receiving areas. So we're very self-sufficient on ourselves. In other words, we don't rely too much on outside vendors. There are some things that we need to accomplish with outside help, but not as much. We're very reliant on ourselves. You can see the typical glob of right here being, again, very recyclable. That is then, we'll show you a pallet over here. After the cookies, after they cut out as much as they possibly can out of every square inch of selected rubber, what they'll do is they'll take that scrap, we'll put it on a pallet. It is again in the afternoon mixed with other colors of rubber, is actually brought back over, put on these rollers, and stamped out and put inside the shoe. So again, we reuse and nothing very well is thrown away too much. Okay, we'll just move. Now what we're going to do is move straight ahead this way. Just straight ahead, you'll stop at the end of that second machine over there. Take rubber, mix it on ducts or layers of canvas, which is then rolled onto these rollers, brought over to the process where we stamp out the bumpers and frictions. This gives our shoe added strength on the sides and the front portions, so we can be competitive with competitors. Our shoes might be higher priced, but they're going to last longer because we construct them better in this mode. We're going to go right over here and see the rubber being mixed. Natural rubber. We don't scrimp on anything like that because it's going to give our shoes the longer lastability. The rubber we use on our soles is rubber purchased from Goodyear, originated in Indonesia. So it's not any kind of synthetic rubber. It is then mixed with chemicals, allowing us to be pliable to use. Then mixed up here, it goes up into the area, into these, what we call crackers. It is then mixed up into these areas here and put into these holding areas here. We get a lot of air bubbles out of it. We mix the chemicals up in it, and it comes into us almost in a very pure state. Can you read? Do you heat it or do you use solvents to get it mixed? It's actually heated with solvents to allow it so it can be pliable enough that we can use it like taffy. Again, it's in an unvulcanized state at that moment in time. The last process over here is then in our vulcanization ovens. And I feel bad because the people back can't hear. I'm sorry? Good. You can see there, if you turn around, the rubber going in there. Good. So if you want us to tell him to shut off, you can just say it. Oh, and he can hear you. Thank you. Okay, what we're going to do is go back that way, okay? Just down to the edge of the machine there. Yes, sir. So you receive the rubber? I'm sorry?
Are they actually impregnating rubber into that fabric?
Mm-hmm. It's actually being rolled in both sides.
Both sides.
And being combined that way. Here's a different style of bumper that we use in our style 32s and 35s. Kind of a rough edge that's already imprinted. Then come over here and cut. This is where they cut the friction pieces that go onto the sides of the shoes, coming off the rollers that have been through here, already combined with canvas, and then allowed to go through our cutting areas here and then put into our pallets for storage.
So the most you have is maybe 8. How many is that? 7 or 8?
Yes.
3, 6. Shoes that would be identical then, as far as exactly where he's placing the...
Correct.
That's the sole right there?
That is the front bumper section on the shoe itself. All the bumpers, the side portions here, the frictions, what we call, the friction pieces are the pieces that wrap around the shoes themselves. I'm sorry?
This is the part that would be on the side?
The very front of the shoe.
Very front bumper? Okay. Together in one piece right now?
Yes. Okay, we'll go on over this way here. We just move right on down. Yes, he is. It's for a different style. It's just in a glob. You would think we'd throw it away. It's actually mixed again together and then stamped out over here. They're put into sheets, excuse me, and then they're brought right back over in this area here where they're stamped out and go inside the shoe. And I'll show you that piece.
Why isn't the individual rubber recycled in the sense that you have an operation over here for the friction, for the bumper? Why don't you just recycle bumper rubber into bumpers and so forth?
Oh, it would just, it's a good question. Because it seems to work better in that process for us. Let me just explain here. Brand identity, which they're stamped right over in this area here. This is a thick duck of canvas, your basic cushion or foam padding, the brand identity area. This has our arch cookie, and this is the recycled piece with all the rubber that we mix back up together, stamp out, and is put inside the shoe. This allows a lot of heat, less heat to go through the shoe. It also allows and gives it extra strength. Then you gotta, if you take a look at this inside the shoe, then you have your gum rubber sole. Right here behind you is where they're starting to take the outsoles themselves after they've been baked, gum rubber after being baked, which you'll see over here. They're taking the first topographical layers of cement to give the sole some tackiness so it can be worked with on the other side of the factory. And these pieces can come together before the vulcanization process. Again, complying to EPA regulations, these glues that we're using are non-toxic. Doesn't hurt the atmosphere, can be breathed, can be touched without any kind of skin irritation. The chemicals that we use are one of the main compounds in our glues are from a derivative from orange peels. So it's neat that every time the shoes are vulcanized, they're packed, they go to our warehouse, you can actually smell orange in that portion of the warehouse after they've been freshly baked. because of the derivative that's used in our glues.
In-house, or is that from?
The young ladies, you can see, are putting together our insoles. At the end of the day, this young lady is not wearing any kind of plastic gloves. At the end of the day, she can literally just peel that glue right off without having any skin irritation at all.
Is that a personal choice, whether to wear gloves?
It's a personal choice. We prefer that they do, but some absolutely don't. They just rather just take it and it just comes right off. This is your recycled piece. It comes out gray because we'll mix black, white, and any other color that we have as far as a recyclable rubber and mix it together.
And then once these get stamped out, then you have that refuse. You use that.
That's
over
right.
again, just keep going over and over and over.
Until we just don't have any more to use. I mean, we just keep reusing it.
How do you get the color into the rubber? Whether it's white or black or so forth?
It's the different chemicals, processes that they use in order to turn it black. Or we've had taupe colors, which we have now in fashion, black. We've had brown rubber so we have all these chemical compositions to choose what color we want. Red, black, we've had blue. Yes, the dye.
There you go.
This is the area where brand identity, where they stamp the inside of the shoe. Now, besides doing Vans footwear, this might be important for you. Besides doing manufacturing with our own label, there's a lot of fashion or apparel companies within the United States or even abroad that have approached us to do what we have a private label division. So we also manufacture shoes for a number of other different people besides Vans. We've done shoes for Fashionab and still currently manufacturing for Fashionab, Massimo. We've done shoes for J. Crew, which we're currently doing right now, giving it a washed upper. We've done shoes for a myriad of different people using their label in their shoe, but having us manufacturing domestically for them. Soles are cooked. Right over here, you'll see that they're baked. They come over to this area here where they're ground up. Just giving it a rough edge on the edge of the sole so the glue can get a good bite into it. Again, nothing goes into the atmosphere. It's caught and brought down and stored away. This is the beginning of an outsole. People get it. It's just a stick of rubber. Looks like a piece of French toast somewhere. This is it. Goes right into our waffle irons here, and it is baked. 200 degrees for 20 minutes. That's where we came up with the term waffle sole or waffle configuration on our regular style 44, we call it, is because they're actually generated in a waffle iron.
Or given size, how many different molds do you have?
Of soles, well, we have this waffle design would be one. We have our lugs.
No, that one. Are they different? How many different molds do you have? Like this one right here. That one looked very similar to the one over there. They're all making the same one.
Correct.
Each one of those molds may have slight defects in them, which will help us to identify one person versus others.
Right.
In that same shoe.
So how many molds in the whole plant?
Well, how many molds in the whole
Yeah,
plant?
I mean, give us a number, approximate. How many molds are there for that style
For this
in
stuff?
this whole plant? Yeah.
I would say there's probably at least 100 irons per style that we have.
Per size. Or size 8.5. Yeah, here's 8.5. How many would there be for just this size?
In inventory, I would say there would be at least 2 to 3 for that particular size.
And then they get repaired and
That's correct.
2 to 3, that's one of these things?
Yes.
So actually it makes several.
Yes.
And from our standpoint, each one of those is different.
Right.
Each one of those 4 in there is
Oh, well, go ahead.
I didn't mean to hit
No, that's okay. Then we have, besides the waffle sole, we have our lunch sole that we just produced. And that has the same amount of irons, too, to it, per size. And it also depends if, let's say we have men's 12, there's not as many irons. There might be more what we call in the belly, which is like size 7.5 men's through like a 10.5, 11. There'll be more molds for that size than the smaller or larger range in that size range. Then we also have our razor cut non-skid blue sole that you saw in one of those baskets over there. That's actually just cut itself, molded in here, and then cut.
Do your molds have a lifetime, a certain, they can be used and then they have to be retooled or something, or?
Not necessarily, no. These pretty much go on unless the hinges break or unless the handles break, then they're repaired in that fashion. Otherwise, as far as retooling, trying to maybe get out any kind of burrs or anything in that generally doesn't happen. The only repair would be cosmetically to the outside of the iron itself.
Now each mold, is each mold hand ground to the size, or is that a machine job?
That's machine. We had this done by a tooling company outside of us. We didn't actually manufacture these ourselves. There is actually, as 15 years, this is an interesting thing. There is a young lady who wrote us a letter after looking at this sole for 15 years and actually said, there's the Star of David in this.
Now, is this something that you have like a patent on or a copyright?
Pardon me? We have a patent on this.
Some other company could not legally use that same design.
That's correct. There was a company that came out for a while that had the same configuration, and yet we explained to them that they need to cease on production of that because we had a patent trademark on this.
Does that patent have an expiration date sometime in the future?
To my knowledge, no.
But on a special order, you could use that design and you wouldn't have your label.
Start from here, and then you go all the way down to the finished product over here before it gets on the heater carts. Really good one.
Maybe you should wind your way back into the center of the group so that people see the stop right where you are instead of going around.
Okay. You just focus over to this side here to my right. You'll see the shoe start to finish being put together in its pieces here. The end piece, and then it goes onto the heater. Here, heater carts, they're wheeled into these ovens. They hold about 10 heater carts each. Wow. And they're in there with about 350 pounds per square inch of pressure and about 300 degrees heat. That brings everything together to seal it together. They're brought back out, allowed to cool, then they're put into these staging areas right in here. Upstairs is the packing area, where then these go lifted up on an elevator upstairs, and then they're packed according to what they need to be packed and what styles. I can see all the girls are really now, looking at the shoes and stuff.
That's what I just tell her. Just look at, you don't see any guys going, yeah,
So they're essentially complete once they've been vulcanized?
That's correct.
So
You cannot pull them
the
apart.
canvas, the dyes, and everything are not harmed at all by the vulcanization process.
That's correct, yes.
Now you got to give the plug to the store out here.
Oh yeah, of course. You know, I have a lot of folks after a tour, they'll go over there and check out the shoes and stuff. But you can see it's kind of neat that I see the ladies coming over there, because for many years, a lot of the girls were buying men's styles or boys' sizes, because that was pretty much was our focus, was a men's fashion statement or skateboarding and bicycle motocross. Now we've turned toward the young lady, and it shows that with the styles that we have out here, the girls are focusing more attention towards Vans now as a fashion, or as a ladies' fashion statement now. Those, what we call style 17 that she had in her hand, that's an extremely comfortable shoe. I don't have a pair, but my wife does, and all the girls down the block.
Well,
But
sold a few pairs already.
as a wear test, they're very comfortable, especially with that velvet on.
Yeah.
Really good. Okay,
How long do we stay in there?
they stay in here for approximately 30 minutes.
30 minutes at what temperature?
It's 300 degrees temperature with 350 degrees or PSI,
Okay, what temperature is that? Is that centigrade or Fahrenheit?
centigrade.
You do have suede shoes over there, though, so you do some leather up here?
Yes, suede only, yes. We don't have the capabilities to do a smooth leather shoe because of